Welcome to the Real Open House podcast. I am your host, Josh Oleesky. This is the Real Open House where we go beyond the front door. From contracts to courtrooms, protecting your real estate empire. Today's episode is different. Why? Because we aren't talking about how to find a deal, but we are talking about how to protect one. And I'm telling you, this is where most investors lose. You can find the perfect investment property. You can structure a great deal. That property can even cash flow. But if your legal foundation is weak, one tenant issue, one contract mistake, one dispute, one terrible tenant, that's it, game over. Years of upside, all gone. The scary part is most people don't even know they're exposed until it's already too late. So today we brought in attorney at law, Mr. Niv, that lives this every day. Niv is in the trenches with landlords, investors, dealing with high stakes situations, solving problems, and more importantly, preventing them before they even happen. And we've even got a gold music record in Japan in the mix. Go figure. This is not an episode you'll want to miss. Let's get into it with Mr. Niv. Welcome to the show, Mr. Niv.
Thanks for having us, Josh.
My pleasure. So let's start off, go back. I mean, we were just talking a little bit, go back to history. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Israel. I moved here when I was around 4 years old, and we lived in the Valley, and I've lived in the Valley ever since.
818 for life.
I am very much 818 for life.
Amazing.
I've lived there my entire life. Sherman Oaks, Studio the City, and now in Tarzana, then Valley Village. So that's where I'm at right now.
High school in the Valley, everything?
Yeah, high school in the Valley, and then I went to a school called Buckley. Then I did college at SC. I did law school at Southwestern. So
wow,
I just like it here.
All right, little Buckley drama right now with some coaches. I heard, but we're not going to go into that.
I don't really keep up too much with that.
It's funny. The Buckley people are very tight knit. It's like they really stay in touch. I mean, we were talking about mutual friends.
Yeah, they do.
So what drove you into this field? Was it an issue with a landlord, or did you own something? How did you get into law?
How did I get into law, or specifically the real estate law?
Well, real estate law.
Really, the real estate law, I suppose I was working at the second firm that I worked at, and I wanted to get more into business development. And I guess, like every Jewish story, there's a story within a story. Uh-huh. So I was talking to the partners who were at the firm, and I said, look, I want to develop clients and get clients like you guys do it. How do you do it? It just seemed like such a, mysterious, ethereal skill.
To get the clients.
How do you convince people? The sales piece. How do you convince people to trust you? How do I convince people to trust me? And they said, well, this is what I did. So he tells me the story about how he tried to figure out, what do I do? I like to golf. So he would go golfing every single Sunday at a public course. And this was when he was maybe a third-year lawyer, fourth-year lawyer, something like that, which is very, very young. Mm-hmm. And for 8 months, he went every single Sunday like clockwork, 3 hours in the morning.
Golfing.
You get supposedly on public course, you get put into like a group.
Oh, like a threesome, and you're the fourth or something.
Yeah, something like that. And so he didn't meet anybody, so nothing for 8 months. But he went like clockwork. Then one time, some guy stepped into his cart. Said, "What do you do?" "I'm a construction lawyer." "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm a contractor." Wonderful. So that became his first big client. That, one turns into two if you do a good job, two turns into four, et cetera, et cetera. So they're like, "What do you do?" And I sat there and I thought about it. It's like, I do Jew stuff.
Jew stuff.
Jew stuff. I go to temple. I go to events that pertain to Jewish people. It's Jew stuff.
Jew stuff.
They're like, fantastic. A lot of those people own real estate. Tell them you're a real estate lawyer.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. And it's not as if it was lying. We really did do real estate.
Yeah.
It's more of a construction-centered law firm, but a lot of it was real estate related. And I'd had some experience doing unlawful detainers, evictions, and I'd had a lot of experience in my prior firm dealing with real estate issues because we were defending brokers. We're also defending architects and engineers.
Like construction defects and stuff like that, or
construction defect cases and in brokers for negligence cases. So I was dealing with real estate all of the time, just not necessarily in the way I deal with it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, fine, let's do that.
Instead of golfing, you went to shul.
I instead of shul, because you're not supposed to talk business when you go to shul. So instead, I started going to pro-Israel events. I started meeting people there, and.
What a great story.
It's actually so there's a great story about that. So I said, okay, like how do I go out and start meeting these people? I remembered I'd went to high school with the daughter of someone who was very, very involved in the pro-Israel movement and is himself a really big real estate person. Reached out to him on LinkedIn and said, hey, I'd like to get involved in pro-Israel stuff. And he emailed me back on LinkedIn like right away. He's like, which of these two organizations do you want to do? I had no idea which ones they were, so I was like,
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Yeah, pretty much that one. I chose well because he said, all right, they're having their big annual dinner this week.
The big gala.
The big gala. Come, you can sit at my table, right? And he's like one of the big machers there.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, this is fantastic. So me and my wife, we go there, and I'm thinking I'm going to sit at like the main table. It's going to be cool. They're like, you're not on the list.
Oh, you showed up and you're not on the list.
Not on the list. I was like, okay. They're like, we'll put you over here
while
we try and figure it out.
Right.
So they sat me in the back of the back of the back.
Put the Jews in the back of the bus.
Well, everyone, the entire table. Let me say the entire room was Jews. So it's can't say that, but they certainly did put me at the children's table, right? So much so it was all the high school volunteers. When I asked for one, they said, we can't give it to you because I was at literally the children's table.
Oh my gosh.
So I was sitting there, sort of fuming and like thinking this is a waste of time and, just disappointed. My wife shows up. She shows up a few minutes later and she gave me like the best advice. We talk about this all the time. She said, just remember where you are right now. This is the beginning. Remember, this is where we started from. Within 15 minutes of her saying that, he finally responds to my text. He says, oh, sorry, didn't see your texts. Come on down.
Oh.
And we walk like down the mountain, down to the main table.
It's like the Oscars when you win an award.
Exactly.
For the editor in the back of the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And so we sat down and the guy sat next to, what do you do? I'm a developer. What do you do? I'm a real estate lawyer. Became my first big client.
Mazal.
Right at that event. And then we just started going to more things, got more involved. And within a year, I just went out on my own.
That's amazing. So you took a lemon and made lemonade.
Yes.
I mean, straight up. And that just shows manifesting and being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And I do these affirmations every day with my wife.
Yeah.
And one of them is, I'm at the right place at the right time always.
Right.
And sure as enough, this is in a room full of good people, first of all,
Yep.
doing their good thing. And look what it got you.
Yeah.
So that was your foot in the door and attending that. Wow. So, when one of my clients, for example, I do a purchase for them, they're buying an investment property. Do you suggest that because real estate agents, not to knock them, they're not attorneys.
Nope.
They have a standardized contract. They can help you with a lease, fill in the blanks, some ad libs type of situation. Do you suggest for people that are buying an investment property to consult with you as a preventive measure ahead of time?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
If they talk to me, to a hammer, everything is a nail.
Yeah.
So you're talking to a person who only deals with the crazy tenants. I tell people this all the time. There's an immutable rule. Okay, I call it the rule of Niv. And the rule of Niv is very simple. It's physics. Mm-hmm. It says this.
Science.
It's science. Okay, and I know because it's never been broken. If you and I are on the phone and we are talking about a tenant, that tenant is a psycho. Period.
It's already there.
There's little psychos, there's big psychos, there's middle-of-the-road psychos, but he's on the spectrum. He or she is
the
on the
psycho
spectrum.
for sure.
Completely. If I'm talking about him, it's crazy. The rule has never been broken. It never will be broken. It is baked into the universe. Now, that's the only people I talk about because now I'm not saying that every tenant is a psycho. To the contrary, 95% of tenants are actually nice, normal people who just want to go to work, don't cause any problems, pay their rent, watch Netflix, go to sleep, rinse and repeat.
Right.
That's just what people want to do.
Right.
And they're perfectly nice people. But nobody ever calls me and says, hey, you know what happened today? Everyone paid their rent. Nobody bothered me. Bye.
Right. Right.
No one's giving me that call.
No.
I only get the calls about the psychos.
Right.
So because that's all I deal with 24 hours a day, I'm a little bit biased. I know objectively that most of the people are okay, but I am a little biased. And there are a heightened level of risks buying property in LA County, and then specifically when you get inside these specific cities that have very, very tenant-friendly ordinances and regulations. So we're talking about City of LA, West Hollywood, Santa Monica, Culver City. Sort of a tier 2 is Culver City, Inglewood. There's a place called Cudahy. You ever heard of it?
No.
Yeah, most people haven't. But
Cudahy?
they feel self-important enough to have their own rent stabilization ordinance, and so does Pomona. But again,
like I've owned a property in West Hollywood, and I've been
Yeah.
very fortunate that I haven't had any psychos.
that's great.
But when I've consulted with an attorney once, a friend, I don't
Yeah.
remember who it was, and I was like, "Oh, I have a place in West Hollywood." He's like, "You're nuts."
Yeah.
You know, you're. I can tell you right now, your lease is wrong. I can tell you your
Yep.
rent increases, that you've never raised the rent, because I had such a great tenant. I never messed with it. She was there for 10 or 11 years and didn't have a problem. But fortunate enough, I didn't, you know, because WeHo is nuts. So you're more of a risk manager partner, I would say,
Yeah.
in the beginning, because that's what I'm getting at is I just did a purchase for a guy, fire chief in Ventura. He was in Oxnard. And he's buying in this little town in Illinois. And I'm like, why are you know, you can buy something for a comparable, because I don't want to buy in Los Angeles. You know, we were just seeing, I just saw next door a lady that rented a room for a week, and the person moved in, and they do this religiously, this
Right.
person. Moved in for a week and said, buzz off. I'm
Right.
not leaving. She called the cops.
They said it's a civil matter.
It's a civil
you
matter.
deal with it.
It's a civil matter.
They have a script. It's written on their hands.
They can't do anything. You can't get them out. You can't.
They can. They just don't want to.
but they don't. They don't mess with it. So investment properties owning today is a different game. You know, now that game changed.
Yeah.
Tell us why. What changed from the 70s? And I lived in Vegas for a brief time. You don't pay your rent. 3 days, you give them the notice. You know, 5 days, sheriff is in there taking their stuff out.
Yep.
Which is amazing. You know.
In Arizona, I don't know if this is still true, but in Arizona commercial property, you just come and lock the door. Period.
Change the locks and that's it. You can lock them
Change
out.
the locks. Self-help.
For commercial properties.
I don't know if that's still true, and it may be a myth, but I'd believe it.
I believe it. I love it.
I've been to Arizona, and it's the only place in the world outside of on the set of a Western where you walk into a
carry.
store and everyone has a gun.
Yeah.
Which I thought was super cool. I'm not knocking it. I think that was super cool. But, you know, they take it seriously. They take property rights seriously. Here, they think property rights are a vestige of the old patriarchy and supremacy and a whole bunch of other stupid words. So what's changed? I'll tell you. The political makeup of the state government and the political makeup of the local governments has in California and in some of the bigger cities and counties in California drifted far left. It's not to say every single person, but enough of them to make a very, very material difference, a stark difference in how they view landlords, property ownership, the concept of charging money to live in a place. So, and that's now viewed as something evil.
To charge rent.
To charge rent, the whole concept.
Right.
Right? It's as if they say why? Because it's a human right. Because it's necessary to live.
Right.
Now, notice that none of them are protesting outside of your local supermarket and saying that we need water, we need food, it's a human right, you should just give it to us for free.
Right.
Now, the reason is because the government's already giving it to them for free. So they don't have to protest.
Right.
They're trying to turn it into something like that. And the government already is giving a lot of money for rent, but it's turned into also an industry where, for example, legal aid, right, gets, can't remember exactly what the number is.
Are you talking about like Section 8 stuff or just
Section 8 is
representation?
Is a proper use of government money for helping people live. We're taking money, we're giving it to a landlord, now you can live someplace. Okay, fine.
Wonderful.
You want to do that? Great.
Yeah.
Right? What they do, what the city of LA does, is take $45 million a year and give it to legal aid instead of giving it to landlords.
To defend
the tenants.
Wow.
That's another big thing that's changed, is they all have lawyers now. All the lawyers that work there work for a very low wage, and they have just a stupid amount of money coming in from the government.
They're like public defenders for this sector.
Exactly.
Wow.
Except for public defenders who have very nice offices. I've been to the inner city law office. Their office is nicer than mine. It just happens to be in a very, very bad area. Right? So they're the inner city, but you walk in and it's like that scene from Coming to America where the building is super not nice, but then you walk in, they've got
palace.
they got the palace inside the junky apartment. Yeah, that's what it was like.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, well now I know where all the money's going.
And we're paying for that, right?
Yep, you're paying for that.
Interesting.
So in other words, you pay the government then pays these lawyers to help them not pay you rent. And they know the economics. The economics have now changed because they also all demand jury trials. When you have a situation where the tenant has a free lawyer who is willing to go and start conducting the case as if it was a federal death penalty case, sending you discovery, filing motions, asking for a jury trial, the economics changes so much that you really are in a much better position to settle than you are to fight.
And meanwhile, the tenant is living there
Yep.
for free the whole time. So as long as this takes a year to 2 years to litigate.
The 2 years is extreme. We don't really have 2 years. The average in LA is 6 months. And the longest we've really seen is about a year. But on top of that, by the way, technically a tenant can sit there and do nothing. Not hire a lawyer, not even respond. Just go by default, and it still might take you 5 months to get them out.
And there's professional people doing this, tenants.
The professional people don't just sit there and do nothing. The professional people actually go to these lawyers and go from building to building, paying 1 month of rent and then getting 5 for free. And now you only pay 1 to 2 months of rent per year, which is a pretty darn good deal as long as you're willing to move every 6 months.
My God.
Right? So that's pretty much the deal.
So, because I hear horror stories.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry. I remember now what I was going to say. So let's say a tenant just does nothing. You give them the 3-day notice, no response. Now you go and you file your complaint. It takes a while to serve them because all they have to do to dodge service is simply not answer the door. It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't require a great deal of effort. Just don't press pause on Hulu and let them keep knocking. It's really that easy. So it takes a while to then serve them because you got to go get what's called a posting order. Not to get into the legal technicalities.
What, is that posting on the door an actual eviction notice?
Eviction complaint. The notice you're allowed to post and mail without any permission. But in order to post and mail the complaint and actually effectuate service of the complaint that way, you need to go get a posting order. To get a posting order, you need to show that you tried 3-4 times. And the judges are like, well, did you try it before 8 o'clock in the morning? Did you try after 6 o'clock at night? Did you try on 3 different days? They're very strict. Also, by the way, the judges themselves tend to be very pro-tenant.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
I mean,
I heard a story about a judge the other day. He was retired. And he's a communist. He really is. When you'd come to his court before he was retired, he would show videos of whatever far left liberal cause he was supporting or celebrating that day. So he would take out court time to show videos like we were in 4th grade.
Like propaganda.
Straight up propaganda.
You just turn around and walk out. I mean,
no, you can't. It's his courtroom. He can do whatever he wants.
My gosh.
But his bias was just right there. And so they brought him back for a little while. And then thankfully they took him away just recently. But he had ruled for a tenant in a case. And then what's called sua sponte, that means on his own, without anybody asking him, told the tenant who was representing himself, oh, and you also get attorney's fees. He didn't have an attorney. Wow. There are no attorney's fees.
Oh my God!
By definition, right?
He just wanted to stick it to you.
You're not allowed to get attorney's fees in a case where you represent yourself. So he just like, I don't care.
Oh my God.
I'm going to give you attorney's fees.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Without anybody asking, he just decided on it.
So the courts favor the tenants.
The courts favor the tenants. The council favors the tenants. You have a state assembly that makes all the rules, which has not just a majority, it has a super majority of Democrats. Now, not all of them are crazy, but enough of them are crazy to make it bad. And then every single elected official in the executive branch of the state level, which is like the governor, the lieutenant governor, blah, 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 they're also all Democrats. So you have one party that rules the entire state and most of the big cities.
I mean, these folks should own property. I mean, I don't.
They do own property.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. I'm sure they're all well fat with reserves and assets and
yeah.
And how do they? Do they just deal with it on their own, or don't they experience the same stuff? Or?
One of my friends, who is a defense attorney for these tenants, is also a landlord.
Interesting.
You don't think Gavin Newsom has a bunch of different property?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I mean,
of course he does.
That's the crazy thing. So it's like the old saying, I guess you don't lose because of the deal. You lose because you didn't protect it, and that's why have you here.
So yes, they should definitely talk to me. Now, is there money still to be made in buying in Los Angeles? I'm sure there is. A lot of people still do. I think some people do it because they don't really know anything else. And so that's just their job. And so they're not going to stop doing their job just because it's hard, which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So there's still ways to make money. It's just that you really have to understand what you're doing, and you also cannot be doing this as a side hustle. This is the way I explain it to people. In the 70s and 80s, if you wanted to have a full-time job and also own 4 or 5 apartment buildings, not units, buildings in the city of LA as a side hustle, something you just do on the side, and not spend too much time, you could do it. It's not a big deal. Didn't take up too much of your time. It was like being in the college intramural badminton team. You could still go to class and get a degree. In fact, you could still probably do good on your grades and fully participate
and not worry
in the badminton team.
And not worry.
Nowadays, owning property in LA, even one building, is playing in the NFL during the playoffs. You're not doing this as a side hustle. And if you attempt to, you will get run over.
You will have a losing season.
Do not do this if you are not ready for a fight.
So what is one sentence that someone says to you when you're meeting with a client that automatically is going to be a legal issue? I mean, like I come to you and I say, I bought this house.
Yeah.
Or I bought a 3-unit with an ADU. What is the one red flag you see when someone calls you?
There's so many. I mean, there's always they're not paying the rent, or they're complaining about it's the mold. Everyone always complains about the mold. Or they're making lots of demands and I just rented them the unit. There's lots of things that, number one, you inherit when you buy a property. So if you're inheriting tenants, there isn't really a whole heck of a lot you can do about it.
Like assignment of a tenant. That's
right. I mean, you just buy a property, and you're not buying it to live in it, and there are 3 or 4 or however many tenants already in the building, and you take whatever it is that the landlord gives you.
Yeah.
You step into the landlord's shoes,
and
whatever mistakes he made, those are your mistakes now.
They follow to you.
Yeah, I mean, something that sometimes I tell people the rule, and they just don't believe me because it's so ridiculous. I'll give you an example.
Give me an example. We love examples here.
Okay. Let's say you buy a building and the landlord told you there are 26 units in this building. Turns out there really are 26 units, but only 25 of them are legal. One of them was illegally converted to an apartment, right? Mm-hmm. Great. The person who lives in that unit has been paying rent for however long. All of his rent, his lease, is an illegal contract. It's an unlawful contract.
Because the property is illegal. Because
his unit is illegal. His unit does not. You do not have a certificate of occupancy. You do not have the legal right to rent that apartment out to people for residential use if it's not on the certificate of occupancy. Okay? So if you have 25 units on your C of O and 26 units in real life, one of these things does not belong here, like they teach you in Sesame Street, right? So that one unit, and you usually know which one it is.
The one that looks like the custodian closet?
Usually it is. It's not. In the example I'm thinking of, it was an office that they turned into a unit. Number one, that guy doesn't have to pay you any more rent. Number two, because you can't charge him. Number two, you can't actually evict him for anything. You can't evict him for living in an illegal unit. They took that off the list of things you can evict for.
Oh my God.
You can't charge him rent because he doesn't owe you any rent because the contract to pay rent is illegal. So the only way you can evict him is you have to call the city on yourself and tell the city, I'm doing something illegal. Can you please come and cite me? And tell me that I have to stop using this as a residence. They give you the order, then you use that order to do a government order eviction. That you can do. And you have to pay that guy relocation.
Like cash for keys.
Not cash for keys. Cash for keys is a voluntary agreement. You have to pay him according to the schedule. The city of LA schedule.
So they already have it set.
They already have it set. Yeah. So you're going to be paying now anywhere between $10,000 to $26,000. Okay? If he leaves on time. If he doesn't, then you got to do the eviction.
And what if he's elderly and handicapped?
So elderly and handicapped, living there more than 3 years, that's when you're going to pay the 26 and change.
Wow.
Okay.
Because what I see in my world all the time are junior ADUs.
It gets worse.
Junior ADUs, illegal additions.
Yep. That's what this is for. Yeah. So that happens all the time. But even in an apartment building, like you said, someone buys someone. So here's the real kicker. Even once you get him out, he can also sue you back for all the rent he's paid in the last 4 years.
Current owner.
The current owner. Now, the current owner is going to say, what do you mean the rent you paid? I didn't take any of your rent. You haven't paid me a dime. So this case came up in the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal says, we're not going to put it on the tenant to go find the old owner, right? You're Mr. Current Owner, you're in a better position to find the old owner. So Mr. Current Owner, you're going to pay him back the 4 years of rent. You go find the old owner, right? And most of the time, the old owner is A, dead, B, already moved to Florida, or C, all of his money is with Christmas.
Yeah.
You might be wondering, what's Christmas? She's a stripper who works in Las Vegas, and you ain't getting any of your money back from her. So that means the current landlord is just stuck.
Or that LLC is put down to sleep.
Correct, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever
if the business is out of business,
correct.
There's no liability there. What are you going to do?
Correct.
Sue an old entity
exactly.
that doesn't exist anymore.
Which is a waste of money. So when I say you step into the shoes, I mean you are really strapping on the shoes, tying the laces. Those are your shoes now.
And this is an LA thing. This isn't a Clark County and Las Vegas thing.
No. I don't know what happens in Clark County and Las Vegas. All I know is that this is definitely, that's sort of a state level thing. That can happen anywhere where if you have an illegal unit.
Oh my gosh.
But in terms of evicting the person outside of LA County or outside of a place where they have some sort of ordinance like that, you can just evict them for doing something illegal, which is living in an illegal unit. And you wouldn't necessarily have to pay them relocation. But in the city, you have to do that whole process. And
so does this stand for you buy a house with an ADU, there's a tenant in it, that ADU is an illegal addition?
The whole story I just told you applies to what you just said.
Anything that you're living in illegally. I mean, so during COVID.
I'll give you a better, it gets worse than that. Say you buy a single family home and it's got this illegal unit in it. Theoretically speaking, you may have now just made the single family home rent control. Because now you have 2 units on your property instead of 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
During COVID, I had a flood. I moved into this Airbnb. And it was like Airbnbs were extinct for a while. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you do. And I rented this house. The insurance company paid. This lady had an illegal addition, lived on the property.
Yeah.
And when we were leaving, she tried to keep my deposit because
Right.
there was gum spots on the floor. She said there was a scratch on her piano, which was all BS. And she was a real estate agent. So I bluffed it out of her, and I said, you have an illegal addition. I'm turning you in.
Right.
And because you rented something with an illegal, you had extension cords, this was dangerous, I'm ratting you out. And I did, actually.
Yeah.
And she gave me back my whole thing. But I didn't realize I probably could have got all my money back because it was an illegal addition and I was renting this place and it was all illegal. Wow.
It's no joke.
That's no joke.
That's exactly why I'm saying it's full contact
Sport.
MMA.
Oh, my God.
Right? You need to be ready to fight with people. And if you're not ready to fight with, sometimes I tell people, they call me and they say, what should we do? And they're a mom and pop or something like that. I just say, it doesn't sound like you're ready for a fight. So you need to do and pay whatever it costs to pay for this problem to go away.
Just get away. Just give them what they want. They
Yeah.
usually can get buy them out before litigation.
It depends on, again, what brand of psycho we're dealing with.
Holy cow. That's a mouthful right there. I mean, I think this happens so frequently and people don't know because, like I said, I'm refinancing this guy right now, 4-unit in San Diego with an illegal addition, says it on the appraisal.
Yeah.
Illegal addition, unpermitted junior ADU that's been rented.
City of San Diego has a local just cause eviction ordinance.
Same thing. Similar.
Yeah, very similar.
So tell us what you do. So besides all this,
So we run a full service landlord firm. And what that means is we provide all the legal services that a landlord, developer, or property manager could need for the most part. So we do real estate, construction, and landlord tenant. And we do litigation and transactional in all three of those fields. So what that means is for landlord tenant, that means the evictions on the plaintiff side, and on the defense side, we defend against landlord tenant claims. So that is habitability claims, which includes mold and bed bugs and all sorts of stuff like that, and ADA claims, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. On the real estate side, it means we deal with sometimes seller-buyer disputes, sometimes disputes with a broker, and on the sometimes neighbor disputes, anything that's of a more real estate nature. And then on the construction side, we can help you draft contracts with contractors and designers. And then if you get into a dispute with them, either they're suing you because you don't want to pay them because they messed up, or they messed up and you want to sue them for messing up, we can help you with the litigation side of that. And so for each of those buckets, there's transactional and litigation. And then, like I said, that also includes eviction. We evict from every single thing that you could be renting to people. So obviously there's the residential side, both the single family and the multifamily, but we also do all commercial evictions. So that is offices, retail. I like to say it's from townhouse to outhouse. So we do a lot of healthcare real estate cases because a lot of my clients are in the nursing home and assisted living business. And so sometimes when a lease is up and the nursing home operator who is leasing it says, well, I really like making money here. And the nursing home owner says, I don't really care. You need to give me back my property. And they say, no. So I help them get that property back. And it's a far, far more complicated process than what you do in a regular real estate transaction because it gets involved in all these licensing issues. So we do those things.
Do the people in those facilities, my wife works at a detox facility, she's a therapist. Do those people inside of those facilities have renters' rights or no? Because that would be like
yes and no.
Yeah.
So if there are 3 levels of facilities. One is what's called independent living. And so those places are considered residential.
That's like a senior citizen that moves there permanently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So senior living, places that are like 55 and above, they're considered apartment buildings. There's assisted living. Now, assisted living is in between skilled nursing and independent living. That's a licensed facility. They have certain tenants' rights, and so you have to go about doing the eviction in a particular way and give them a certain kind of notice, which is very different than the one you would give in a regular eviction. But from that point forward, it turns into a regular eviction. A skilled nursing, that's even harder to do, to start evicting actual residents. But we really don't do much in the way of evicting actual residents. What we're talking about is evicting the operator of the nursing home, the business owner, from a building that he is leasing from the PropCo owner.
Right.
From the property
I own
owner.
the building, the dwelling. I rent it to you. I'm your uncle, the rehab facility place. And,
Exactly.
And I'm trying to get rid of you because you're not paying your bills on time.
Either because they didn't pay their rent, or it's usually because the lease has run and they couldn't get a extension or new lease together, and the person is just making money and they don't want to leave.
Are you structuring leases for these landlords? Do you help them with that? Or
for nursing homes, no,
not with that,
but for everybody else, yes. So part of our landlord tenant work is to provide residential and commercial leases. We customize leases to the particular area that you're in and to the particular use you have. So if you have an industrial commercial lease, that's going to look a bit single tenant. That's going to look a little bit different than your standard, say, retail or office lease. That'll look very different than your restaurant lease, where you have to get into a lot more of the details of how to make sure that the restaurant isn't making life difficult for everybody else. This is where the engineering background came really in handy. Because I would hear about my dad designing restaurants and hear about all the issues, and also hospitals and other nursing homes. He would tell me the stories about the various issues that they're facing. So, for example, in restaurants, you have something called a grease trap. And so if you don't have a grease trap, you're going to run into problems because they're going to put grease down the drain.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, that's going to cause a lot of problems. So you have to have this thing called a grease trap. It has to be sized a particular way. It has to have certain kinds of venting because the grease creates fumes.
Could combust, right?
It's a whole big thing. So all the different experiences that I've had, kind of, they really inform how we're able to provide these different services and know about all these different sub-industries within real estate.
So you perform the service, just blanket, I hire you.
Yep.
And I just keep you on, not as a retainer, as a normal.
Well, we do ask for a retainer.
Yeah, but like a service. It's like a monthly cost or per lease, whatever you do.
Yeah, the leases tend to be flat fee.
Yeah.
And everything else tends to be hourly.
And if they say I should use a real estate agent, they can draw a lease instead of you. Is that more risk, do you feel? Because, yeah.
As a commercial landlord especially, you really have a lot of power in the kinds of things that you are demanding. And the purpose of an air or a car lease is to be even-handed to the tenant and the landlord. Because that's the point of the form, is that all of the different agents can use it. Remember, car and air are made by the California Association of Realtors, not the California Association of Landlords. Realtors represent buyers and sellers. They represent landlords and tenants.
Right.
They want everyone to be able to use it, so they make it even-handed.
It's very generic, general speaking.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. And if you want to have a generic, even-handed lease, great, use it. But if you want to have a lease that actually protects you as the landlord and is not even-handed, it is not fair. It benefits you.
Interesting.
Then you should get a customized lease.
That's crazy. So when you're writing the lease, it doesn't prevent you from getting into litigation. It doesn't prevent you because they're psychos. The rule in America is anybody can sue anybody else for anything at any time. I've actually seen this lawsuit. If you walk into court and say, this is going to be Josh versus the devil. No joke. Josh versus the devil. No one will stop you. They will file your claim. And I've actually seen, I think because they were bored, judges ruling on matters in this case. Just for fun. Just for fun.
Right? Another big problem right now that people need to really understand is the AI issue. So, because of ChatGPT and Claude, every single tenant and every single really pro-per, that means people who represent themselves, they all think they're Johnny Cochran now. All of them. They're all like, I am the world's best lawyer. The reality is ChatGPT is the world's worst lawyer because it has a habit of hallucinating things.
Yeah.
And getting things wrong.
I've beat 6 of my son's speeding tickets in a row. I mean, so it's not all wrong. I mean, I've done trial by by paper.
Sure.
And I've won his 6 tickets from that. So, but this is traffic violations and,
These are these are traffic violations and
but I'm sure in your world, it's
lawyers who have used ChatGPT have been sanctioned. Big law firms. You can look it up. Sullivan and Cromwell got sanctioned because someone in their law firm was using
Come on.
AI. I'm not kidding. They were using AI, and AI is generative. That means it makes stuff up. If you use ChatGPT to write song lyrics, you will get a really good song. I've done it. It writes wonderful lyrics. But the problem is it will also use that skill when you're doing legal research. And it will start hallucinating cases. Cases that literally don't exist. Or it'll give you a case that's real with a citation that doesn't exist. Either a quote that doesn't exist, or it'll tell you this case stands for this proposition, and it does nothing of the kind.
I think we need a legal ChatGPT then.
There already is one.
Okay, because that's you know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking like, where's one that's exact? An Encyclopedia Britannica, a real one that you can have factual case.
So the people who provide the legal tech do that. Theirs is a closed universe place to research. So it's not going to make up cases, but it'll still interpret cases in a way that aren't necessarily what it means. It's still AI. I'm not saying that AI is bad. I use it, and it's very, very useful for some things. But it's not to a level yet where you can rely on it consistently.
Interesting.
Or at all. Now, the pro-pers don't know that, but try and convince them otherwise. So what they do is they will file cases, they'll file motions, they'll send you discovery, and it's all nonsense. But it doesn't matter because the judges don't want to be on the front page of the Los Angeles Times. This person denied access to justice. So they bend over backwards to let the pro-pers do whatever they want.
My gosh.
And what that ends up doing is costing the client a lot of money because the pro-pers does a stupid complaint. You still need to answer it. They send you stupid discovery. You still need to respond. They file a stupid motion. You still need to oppose it. And it costs money.
Well, and the court's time. And I mean, this is costing the city money. I mean,
I've had these pro-pers yelling and screaming at the judges, filing multiple motions after motion after motion, trying to disqualify the judge. And the judges just take it.
Just crazy. This is just insane. I'm in awe of this, and that's why I was so interested in hearing what you have to say. What's worse, a bad tenant or bad paperwork?
Tenant.
And what is recent of a crazy tenant story? I'm sure you've got a million of them.
We had one tenant who we were evicting because of a nuisance. He's when I say he was crazy, I don't mean that like in the colloquial sense. He had a screw loose. He was psychologically impaired. Okay. So we finally worked out a deal where he could leave after a certain amount of time, and he had one of these, communist organizations representing him. And they worked out a deal where, okay, we could extend it at the time he's supposed to leave unless it would be unreasonable to do so. Well, he started acting up the day after we made the deal and continued to do so until the expiration date.
And what's acting up mean?
All the same stuff. He was yelling at people and interfering.
Nuisance.
He was a complete nuisance.
In the building.
In the building.
This is an apartment building.
Everyone kept complaining about him. He was just crazy. All right, fine. Time came. They said, we want an extension. It would be unreasonable for you to deny it. I said, well, apparently you're smoking the same stuff that your client is, or just failing to take the same meds that he needs, but you're not taking. Mm-hmm. So, no, it would be completely unreasonable for us to extend because he's still doing all the same stuff. Now, about a week before we have the hearing where they're asking for more time, this guy proved our case. Thank you. He tried to set his own apartment on fire.
Oh, my gosh.
And he did that on the way out because he was on the way to attempt to firebomb The federal courthouse.
Oh.
He threw Molotov cocktails at the federal courthouse.
Amazing.
Now, the nice thing is that he's not a very good terrorist. So he threw them, but he didn't light them first. So he just threw them.
Was this on the news?
This was on the news.
This is
my tenant.
Interesting.
Right?
Didn't he catch himself on fire?
No, he didn't catch himself on fire. But the nice thing is, unlike some of the local authorities, which I feel bad for them, kind of feel like they have their hands tied, the federal authorities do not take kindly to this, and their hands are very much untied right now. So they took him. I think he's probably still sitting in some sort of an underground facility dungeon, and I hope he stays there.
He's a terrorist.
I hope he stays there for the rest of his life.
So do these people's credit get affected? So these bad tenants, do you pursue
the whole credit issue? There's a tag to the story.
Okay.
She still came and represented him.
Even after all this?
And she still came and said he needs more time.
After that?
He was sitting in a federal prison, and she still came and represented him.
After all that?
Yeah.
After he tried to set the building on fire?
Because
that's just ridiculous.
Because they're not representing tenants. They don't like tenants. They just hate landlords.
So are they paid hourly, these people, or are they salaried?
They're
so
salaried.
There's no bonus, there's no horse in the race for them. They just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yep.
My God. I mean, this is just crazy stuff.
And somebody has to fight them. Somebody has to fight for property rights, and that's what we do.
And I'm sure there's bad landlords. I mean, we hear of slumlords.
Of course there are bad landlords.
There's definitely another side. And there could be people that got injured or hurt their back at work, can't make their bills.
Here's the thing.
There's another flip side to it.
I also never hear from those tenants. I also never hear about those tenants. I'll tell you why. Every single landlord I have, and I can say this with a very, very high degree of confidence, when a tenant has an issue like that and is smart enough and composed enough to come and talk to the landlord and say, hi, I lost my job. I'm going through divorce. I got sick. I have some issues. Can you put me on a payment plan for this month or two? And then I'll get caught up. I'll start paying my rent, and then I'll get caught up. Every single one will make a deal with that tenant. I'll tell you why. It's not worth it to say no.
Right. Because the cost involved to litigate that is...
Yeah.
And then they realize...
The people I hear from are the ones that don't communicate. Even when that is what happened to them, they have two choices. One, I'm going to be honest with the landlord about what happened. It requires a certain amount of humility because you have to come and say, there's something in my life that is a little bit broken. And I'm now going to have to come to somewhat of a stranger and spill my guts.
And share some personal...
Exactly. Not everyone feels comfortable doing that. Not everyone feels comfortable acknowledging that something is broken in their lives because sometimes it may be of their own making. Gosh. So what they decide to do is to say, well, this could either be my fault or it could be your fault, the landlord. Most people decide it's your fault. And that's when we have problems.
My God. This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, and people want to be landlords and buy investment properties and buildings. And
again, 95% don't cause any problems.
Yeah, but that 5% can bring you down. Like I said in the beginning,
it can.
That 5% can ruin your whole cash flow. 5%, anything you've made, that gain is gone.
And so again, you cross the county lines, it's a different universe.
Doesn't exist.
You go to San Bernardino, Orange County, Ventura County, right? You have to stay out of a couple of the cities in there.
Yeah.
So in Orange County, you got to stay out of Santa Ana. In Ventura, you got to stay out of Oxnard.
Because they're their own incorporated.
They have their cities, and they have these.
And Burbank,
local
how's
ordinances.
Burbank?
Burbank is constantly on the verge of getting a rent control ordinance, and they get right up to the line, and then they back it off, and then they get right up to the line, and they back it off. But when a city is like that, they're going to have one very soon. So that's why I tell people, don't do Burbank.
One extra person that votes that way, it's over.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so let's shift some gears. So you have some music background.
I do.
Interesting background to go from a gold record in Japan. What did this all come about?
So I was.
Is this your passion? I mean, is that your love?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Did you have long hair?
No. Okay. I never had long hair. No. I tried it, I think, for a summer. I looked really stupid. turned more into a mullet. I really don't like it.
So is this right out of high school, or
No. This was like my whole life. I was playing music since I was 6 years old. So my dad was an engineer, but he was also a musician. So he taught me. I'm from a Russian family, so he was my teacher, and you'd get punished if you didn't
piano
practice.
or
started on piano.
Yeah, so Russian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's good. It's good to start on piano.
Yeah.
So I started on piano, and then I picked up guitar when I was around 14 years old. I started playing drums in the band when I was around 12. So, and then I started writing songs when I was around 15 and producing and recording music. I got very, very much into it all through college, and I was really on the precipice of really kind of breaking through, but still not there yet. And then I went to law school, engineering. I tell people I graduated summa cum barely. It was not for me. It was not for me. Yeah. But my parents are both engineers, and they're Russian, so there are only 4 jobs in Russia.
Right.
There's engineer, lawyer, doctor, or accountant.
Yeah.
Or as we like to say, engineer, doctor, lawyer, accountant. Any other
or
jobs,
the dark side.
Any other job is just not really a job.
You skip the mafia, but that's the oligarchs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's the 5th job.
Of course, but they still don't let Jews into the mafia and the Russian mafia.
Yeah.
So, it's off the list for us. Although I will tell you, the mafia would run everything so much better than the government does.
Right. You don't pay your rent, you die.
Right. Everyone pays their rent.
Everybody
Look
pays
at
their
that.
rent. It's amazing.
Look at that. It's amazing.
Capital punishment. And,
Yeah.
and you also recently appeared on Tosh.0, which is a very loose. I mean, I did watch the entire segment. It was interesting.
It was really fun.
How did you get hooked up with him? I mean, how did that happen?
One of his producers is a client of mine, and he was going through one of those crazy stories, and we got to talking about a lot of the other crazy stories that I have, and I've seen like a lot of really crazy ones. I mentioned some of them on the Tosh show, but I remember one where we had this was actually, I think, in either Riverside or San Bernardino, and you'll understand why in a second. So we were evicting this one couple, and we had them on video. This was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life. There are 3 videos, I should say. There was one day when they were smoking meth right by where the mailboxes were. The next day, they were having sex by the mailboxes.
Same couple?
Same couple. And then the next day, they were breaking into the mailboxes and stealing things. All caught on video.
The progression of the 3-day binge that they...
Yes. We had another couple in Hollywood who were filming pornography. Now, we'd had a lot of complaints because they were filming pornography on their balcony in full view of all these 7, 8, and 9-year-olds in the buildings next door.
Lovely.
And so their parents were calling the landlord and saying, you need to stop this. And so they stopped doing it on the patio. And they were like, where else can we do it? I know we have our own apartment where we can do whatever we want without asking anybody's permission. But you know what would be better? Let's go to the stairwell.
Oh, I thought the roof.
No. They went to the stairwell. And they were filming it and putting it online. So they were caught. So I had to get rid of them.
Does that be beyond a civil matter? That seems like more of a police matter if you're... No?
Nope.
No?
The police will not come unless there are 2 dead people at your property. One dead person, they're like, he's already dead. And
2 weeks.
We don't have any overtime today. Whatever. 2 dead people, you're like, okay, fine. Maybe they'll probably give us overtime for that.
Oh my gosh, Niv. This is good stuff. I mean,
this is real stories.
It's entertaining. All right, so here comes my favorite part of the segment. It's called Rapid Fire. I'm going to shoot some questions, and you can try to answer them as best as you can. Favorite type of client?
My favorite type of client? Really smart clients.
Smart clients.
Yeah, I have a couple of people that I really regard as my smartest clients, and it is so much easier to help them because I can explain to them rationality, logic, why they need to do A, B, C, and D, what are the risks, and it's just so much faster and easier, and it's better for them.
Coffee or whiskey?
Whiskey.
Oh, I love it. One must-have lease clause.
For residential leases,
Yeah.
cap on attorney's fees. Yeah. For residential leases, people don't understand. If you lose an eviction, winning an eviction in LA is like trying to go through the American Ninja Warrior gauntlet. One misstep and you're in the water. You have to get 100% of the things right. The tenant, all they have to do is throw one banana peel in front of you and they can win.
So now, in the lease, you can have a cap
on your attorney's fees
for them.
Exactly.
When the judge says you've got to pay their attorney
fees. It applies both ways. But chances are you're going to need it more than they're going to need it. You're not really going to sue the tenant for burning the place down. Because if you do, he probably doesn't have insurance. He's probably a crazy person. He doesn't have any money. So you don't really care. You're not going to do it. But you're probably going to evict that person. And if they win the eviction and you have uncapped attorney's fees,
it's unlimited. Someone's coming up.
They're going to file motions for $25,000, $30,000, $40,000. And the judges routinely give it to them.
Great tip.
Yeah.
And that's not in your regular real estate agent.
It is. It is in the car lease, and it's $1,000 cap. You can change it. But I've seen brokers, do not make this mistake. Brokers, do not make this mistake. I've seen them think, well, why would we want to have a cap on attorney's fees? I'm just going to write that out and make it $5,000. Or I'll just say everyone gets their attorney's fees. And they don't understand why that's put in the lease. It wasn't there 10 years ago. It's there now for a reason. Don't mess with the form.
Best city for landlords. Locally.
Oh, locally?
Yeah.
Just not LA County, not the Bay Area.
That's it.
San Bernardino is great. Orange County is pretty good, but
and
San Bernardino better.
Because they super landlord friendly. I mean,
they're just not tenant friendly. They're just normal.
Yeah.
And they don't have all of these different free lawyers. So Orange County's good. San Bernardino's good. Kern County.
And Kern's like Palmdale out there is.
No. Palmdale is part of LA County.
Or what's that? Because it crosses over to another county out there.
So there's Kern is north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people buy in not Santa Clarita, like Palmdale out there.
Technically still LA County, and you still have to go to the LA County courthouse. In fact, Palmdale and Lancaster have their own courthouse. It's the Lancaster courthouse, which is really nice. Actually, a really nice courthouse, but it's still LA County, and
they still can get the benefits of getting the.
Basta even has a office out there.
For all
Basta's
all
one
the
of
meth factories that they're.
I mean, they'll just straight up. They know. Playing with these people is like playing poker where everyone can see each other's cards. That's what it is. So they know how much it costs for us to defend a case. And so they say, give that money to us. And a lot of times you just have to because it's cheaper. They'll ask you for a smaller number than it costs to give to me to go gamble at a trial. Remember, you go to trial, I don't care if you have a good case, it's still gambling. So if it costs $15,000 to go to a jury trial, and they'll ask for one, and they'll do it, just for the sport. Just for the sport. And if that costs $15,000, and they say, give me $5,000, what am I trying to do in a jury trial? I'm trying to buy a judgment. I'm trying to get a judgment for possession. So I can either pay $15,000, gamble to see if I can get one, and the 15 is gone one way or another, whether I win or lose, or I can just buy one for $5,000. Why wouldn't you buy one?
Right.
It'd be stupid. Right? So they know that. We know that. They know we know that. That's the way the system is set up.
It's a broken system. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, it's a little broken.
Yeah, I mean, they're not putting their thumb on the scale. They're putting an entire, 10-ton rock on the scale and then saying, see, justice.
It's crazy. Biggest eviction myth.
Biggest eviction myth is that you can't evict anybody in Los Angeles. That's simply not true.
You can.
You can. It's just hard.
It's just hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate everything you're sharing today. I mean, I think definitely some good information. Shocking. I'm speechless, and I don't get speechless. This is a strategy, I feel, a legal strategy that isn't an option.
No.
I think this is a eye-opening conversation for people that think, I want to just go buy an investment property and start this little empire like Monopoly and, not have my ducks in a row.
No.
I think this proactive speaking to Niv and his firm before you execute leases. Real estate agents know their stuff, but in today's world, I know realtors, when lawsuits happen or evictions happen, they put their hands up and go call a lawyer, and it's already too late. I feel from what I'm hearing, it's too late at that point. You've got your psycho in there, and the psycho under sheep's clothing, where you think they look good when they're filling out their application, when in reality they're professional poachers. Squatters. This is just something that's just crazy. Where can they find you? Where can our listeners find you?
So our website is www. I just said that. Yes, I'm almost 46 years old, so I still have to say that. But it is davidovichlaw.com. It's
I'll put it on there.
It's a lot easier than it sounds. It's David, like David, and then OVICHLAW.com. All of our socials are in the top right-hand corner there. We have YouTube and TikTok and all the sorts of fun stuff that young people like. So you can find all of our information there. Our phone number, my email address is niv@davidovichlaw.com. That's NIV, just like the Bible, New International Version. And yeah, we're happy to help any.
And do you do consults for people?
I do consults all the time. So you don't have to sign a big retainer if you just want to sit and ask questions.
Wonderful.
You can come in and we do Zoom consults, in-person consults, phone consults.
Amazing.
I'm working on, soon we're going to have telepathy consults. It can be fun.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking your time. I know time is money. Your clock is money, and thank you for coming in today and sharing with our viewers. And thank you guys for tuning in today. A lot of good information. Like I said, I'm in shock. This is different than what we normally do. But what I do feel that this is something that is a necessity in today's world, in our market. And we are the Real Open House, where we go beyond the front door and your tenant's door and your landlord's door. So please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. We're on iHeartRadio. You just click subscribe, and we have some great great guests coming up in the next couple of weeks. Tune in, and Mr. Niv, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thanks. It was fun.